Hello, everybody. This is Darlene from the blog Heal to Speak. Happy Friday. Happy December. I hope you all are well. I'm coming to you today to discuss the topic of forgiveness and the consequences of unforgiveness. I believe I covered this topic before in written form. I don't think it will be as detailed as what I will share with you today, but I did speak on forgiving. And I mean, we're supposed to forgive every day anyway, regardless we should forgive. But most importantly, we're going into a new year and people get excited about 2018, but there's no sense in going into a new year when you still are carrying baggage with you. So, my prayer for you today after you listen to this video is that you really ponder in your heart those that you need to forgive and forgive them rather than suffer the consequences of unforgiveness. So I first want to say, as I usually say in these videos, is that the goal and purpose only for me is to share some of my experiences with you in hopes that it will be a blessing to your life and hopefully aid in your healing process. Second, I want to say that the story that I'll share with you, although I'll give you a couple of facts, I'm going to share a personal story, and in that story is mine. It involves my mother, who is no longer alive, and my brother who is. I spoke with my brother just to get his permission so he doesn't feel, any type of way or, gets upset because he would not know that I posted this video. So he already knows, and, as I shared, my mother is no longer here, but I feel free enough that at this point it's okay for me to share. It's nothing deep, but it's just a story to share with you to understand why we need to forgive. So first, I wanted to look up the definition of unforgiveness, and I know a lot of people don't go by Wikipedia, and I don't very often. I really don't. But when I looked up the definition, to me, in line with what I want to talk to you about today, I thought it was so on target. And the definition is, the definition of forgiveness, according to Wikipedia, is the intentional and voluntary process by which a victim undergoes a change in feelings and attitude regarding an offense, lets go of negative emotions such as vengefulness, and an increased ability to wish the offender well. So basically, this is saying that the definition of forgiveness, according to Wikipedia, is it's voluntarily deciding to forgive someone and wish them well. And I just thought, wow, that was so profound, because a lot of times when we harbor unforgiveness, that's exactly what we're doing. We don't wish them well. We're angry with them. We're upset with them for the things that they have done. But there's a reason why the Bible tells us to forgive. It's for the other person, but more importantly, it's for us. It's for our own soul. So I also want to share a few consequences of unforgiveness, which is if you don't forgive, God won't forgive you. We all need forgiveness every single day because we do or think or say the wrong thing. So, excuse me, that was my phone. So, we all need forgiveness. Number two, if you don't forgive, you will experience bitterness of soul. And that'll kind of be what my story will talk about today. And number three, if you don't forgive, you risk experiencing sickness and disease. There's a lot of people who are sick in their body because they are holding on to so much unforgiveness, which is the same thing in a sense as a bitterness of soul. So the story I want to share with you today is a few years back, my mother passed away, and as some of you may know, I shared before in other videos that I experienced abuse, and a lot of it was at the hands of my mother, who had forgiven, who we patched things up long before she passed away. And I remember having a conversation with my brother years before she died, and I said, I've been talking to mommy, and I've been getting, we've been getting somewhere. We're building a relationship, something that I never had with her. And I said, she's apologized. And at that point, I didn't need my mother's apology, but she did. She felt the need to apologize, and she did. And we're moving forward. And I was telling my brother this story. And I said, you need to talk to mommy too, because at that point, he was not speaking with her either. So I said, you need to talk to mommy too. And he just was adamant, no, I don't want to. And I said, why? And he couldn't give me an answer. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to talk to her. And, I didn't really understand why, because a lot of my upbringing, although I was raised together with my brother, a lot of the abuse I experienced was mainly me. It wasn't him. So I didn't quite understand why he was harboring ill will toward her. But okay, But I remember saying to him that day, I said, what if something happens to mommy? What if she dies? And he said, I don't care. And I looked at him like, and you don't care? No, I don't care. And he meant that. So fast forward, my mom got really sick. She had an accident in which she was cooking. She was cooking one night for herself, and her robe caught on fire. She had third-degree burns, 80% of her body, went to the hospital, was there for months and months. And I remember telling my brother, I said, mommy's not doing well. You need to go see her. Didn't want to go see her. Now, there was a point that she was starting to get better. She was starting to get better. She was showing signs of improvement. And then all of a sudden, like overnight, it stopped. I got a call from the hospital. Come see your mom. She's not doing well. This looks like the end for her. So when I got to the hospital, I called my brother. After I talked to talked to the doctors and all that. Called my brother and I said, you need to get here. Mommy's not doing well. And he said, really? I said, yeah, she's not doing well. Like I told you before, you need to get here. Oh, okay. Well, where is she? I told him where she was, what room she was in. I said, you need to get up here. Maybe an hour later, I called him back because at this point, her vitals were like dropping like rapidly. So I called back and I said, hey, are you coming? Yeah, I'm on my way. I got to do this. I'm like, I don't want to say his name. I said, brother, you have to get up here. And he really, even at that point, wasn't taking it seriously. So long story short, I left the hospital that day, intended to come back, and she passed away. And thank God I had the time that I did before she passed. I had time to spend with her and talk to her. Although she, was in a coma, she couldn't hear me. At least I believe she could hear me, but you know what I mean. I had that closure. And actually, prior to her passing, I had closure already. So I was good with the outcome. No, that's not what I ultimately wanted because I was praying for her healing. But the outcome I got, I was at peace with it because I was at peace with her. So, I got home, got the phone call that she passed, and I called my brother and I said, Mommy passed. And it was silence for a long time on the line. And then he said, really? And I said, yeah, she passed away. Because I didn't know it was that bad. I said, yes, I was telling you. And again, there was silence for a while. And I felt through the phone what he was feeling. And that was immediate regret for not forgiving her for the things she's done. Immediate regret for not taking the time when she was alive to talk to her, to just have a conversation with her. He refused. And it was sad. It was so sad because months went by. I remember the funeral happened. He was so, it didn't matter what I said. No matter what I tried to say to comfort him, it did not penetrate. Because at that point, he was in bitterness of soul, which is what I talked about. He was upset because he didn't forgive. And at the end of the day, it was something really silly anyway. And so that's really what I want to share with you today. Our days are not promised. We don't know. We make plans, but we don't know if we're going to be here to carry those plans out. So it's just important to forgive. Forgive people. Let it go. And, I really experienced some horrendous things in my life that when the time is right, the Lord would allow me to share more with people. And I had to forgive. And it was a process. I certainly won't sit and say that I just forgave and I was okay. No, there was a process. Even after I forgave, I had to go through the process of getting over the pain that was caused because of the things that were done to me. Not just by my mother, but other people too. So I just want to encourage you today, especially because tomorrow is not promised, especially because we're about to go into a new year. And as you can see with what's going on around us in the earth, if you have any type of discernment, you can sense what's going on. And we need to get it together, all of us. So even as I, share this message with you, it's even for myself. I have to constantly walk in forgiveness. And so I just encourage you today to walk in forgiveness. Matthew 6:14, it says, forgive others their trespasses. Your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father in heaven forgive your trespasses. And that's important. We want to be forgiven by God. So anyway, I just want to say thanks for listening. I pray today that you received whatever it is that you needed. Most importantly, that you would just forgive those who offended you, whether it's your parents, your spouse, your children sometimes, your pastor, people in your church, whatever it is. Let it go. Let it go. Lay it down and live. It's something that was preached at my mother's funeral. I'll never, ever forget that message. Let it go. Lay it down. Let it go and live. So that's what I encourage you to do today. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a great weekend. Blessings. Bye.